So the intraverbal is another verbal operant. It is our conversational skills. So it is a type of verbal operant in which a speaker differentially responds to the verbal behavior of others. So if we look at our ABCs, our antecedent is some sort of verbal stimulus. Our learner behavior is verbal behavior, but there's no point-to-point correspondence, and the reinforcer is nonspecific reinforcement. Um, so they Introverbals are basically answering questions, responding to speaker behavior. So, with our shoe example, if someone says, "What do you wear on your feet?" and learner says, "Shoe," that would be an introverbal. Again, verbal behavior is antecedent, verbal response for learner behavior, but no point to point correspondence, so they don't match. Um, Intraverbal behavior is really important for our higher order skills, so social skills, conversational skills. And it's typically something we teach following a history of manding, tacting, echoic, and listener responding skills. So it's a higher order behavior, and it's not typically one of the first focus points of language. So if we think about all of the different verbal operants that we've covered already, we can think about how it contributes to conversations. So collectively, mands, tacts, and intraverbals contribute to conversations in the following ways. A mand repertoire allows the speaker to ask questions. So a mand is not necessarily only manding for a tangible, but it's also manding for information. So if I want to know something, I can ask a question and receive the response. So that would also be a mand. It's called manding for information, and it's typically a skill we teach for higher order learning, but also to access advocacy, right? So if you need to go to the bathroom and in public, we will teach our learners to ask the information desk or ask someone in the community, "Where's the bathroom?" And then they receive the specific information. So it's under control of the MO and reinforcements specific to that MO, wanting to know the information. A tact repertoire also permits verbal behavior about an object or event that's actually present, so commenting on our daily lives, commenting about our environment. An intraverbal repertoire allows speaker to answer questions and to talk about or think about objects and events that are not physically present. Um, so those conversational skills. So all of these operants work together in order to contribute to our communication. We teach, actually, we'll go into that later. So we'll talk about teaching and why we teach across the operants. So let's go back to the remaining two elementary verbal operants, so textual and transcription, and we'll briefly touch on these, but textual behavior is reading without necessarily any implications that the reader understands what is being read. So it's without that comprehension piece. So if you see the written word shoe and you say shoe, so that's our textual. There is point-to-point correspondence, but no formal similarity. So that basically means that point-to-point correspondence, that the antecedent matches the behavior. However, the topography is different. The formal similarity is not there. So it looks different. Written and then vocal response or assigned response. Transcription deals with writing and spelling words that are spoken. So Skinner also refers to this as dictation. So if you hear the word shoe and you write the word shoe. So those are our 6 verbal operants, our elementary ones. We also have the role of the listener, which is listener responding skills. And so this is not necessarily a verbal behavior, however, it's included in the operants. So antecedent with listener responding is a verbal stimulus, learner behavior is nonverbal behavior, and reinforcer is nonspecific. So listener responding, typically following directions. It requires a speaker and a listener. The listener plays a critical role as well as the speaker. So basically, the speaker gives a direction, sit down, learner behavior follows that. Nonverbal behavior, they sit. So they follow the direction. Reinforcement, nice job sitting. With the shoe example, antecedent, put on your shoes. Learner puts their shoes on. Nice job putting your shoes on. So that's listener responding. So that is an operant, however, it's not dealing with verbal behavior. It's following the direction of someone else's verbal behavior. So those are the 6 operants along with listener responding. A really quick overview. There are several examples. During our discussion post this week, we'll look at some other examples as well.